So this is a quick, short 5-minute video that's going to talk about the robots that I built here. When we actually have to do a backup, when we're going to upgrade a version of Kapow, or we just need to take a backup for some reason, make some changes, and then import that backup into the project or back into the management console. Very quick. It's not difficult at all, so I'm not really doing any time saving here. But I'm going to create the backup, create it, click the download. And then I get the download of the backup, and then I can store that file wherever I need to store it temporarily or for long term. But we don't really have some sort of lifecycle management at this moment, so I could store it, in my OneDrive and something like that. So what I've done is I've actually kind of automated this. I actually have automated this process so that this particular backup takes place nightly. So it runs at night, goes and pulls that file down. But what I've done is I've created a database, and I take and upload that file into the database. So I load the binary up, store it as a blob in the database with the last backup and all the information that's relative to it. So we don't worry about taking up disk space per se. We're storing it in the database and leaving it from there. So I don't have the latest version in here from 12.12. So what I'm going to do is, let's just say I've upgraded my Kapow environment. I want to make a backup before I do that. So I want to make a backup so I can then upgrade my environment and then go import my management console back into it. So what I'm going to do is I give you the ability to do it two different ways. So this is a robot that we can, a kapplet that we can run that will run the backup. I give you the option to either store it locally. This button here, if you check off here, it's going to say check here to store locally. Otherwise, we're going to store it up in the database. If I click Start Backup, it's going to go run. I pull the folder up here. It should pop up here in a minute. That is completed, and we'll show you the folder here. Show you the completed backup file, or folder, zip file, in the folder. So here we go. We've done it locally. One of the things I've done as well is, because you're generating this from the manual, you're generating it from not the automated nightly service. I've added in here, we've got a manual to it. So that way when you look into it, and you'll see here in a minute, when you go look at your backups, you'll know what was completed manually or completed with the regular backup system. So let's take this, uncheck this box, and we'll run this again. And you'll see it's going to come back here in a second. And it's completed. And if I go run my query, now you'll notice that we received that file up in the database and it's stored there, so we can pull it back at any time. So we've done that. We've automated a nightly service. We've given you the ability to kick off a robot through a kapplet to go download the file and store it into the database, or store it locally so you can perform your upgrades. Now let's say we've got a robot that we know we built back in a month ago or so, whatever, and we want to go find a particular backup that may have something we want off of it. So we've got another robot here, another kapplet, I should say. And what this kapplet does, this kapplet actually executes two different robots. So what we're going to do is we're going to search all our backups. So this is going to the database, going to pull back all the list of backups that are available on the database. Here I'm just presenting a few. Here you'll see the one we just backed up a minute ago. So I'm going to select this particular one that I want to back up. I'm going to click Download File. And now it tells me that it pulled it back from the database, and here you go, that it's sitting in the folder. So I can do that. Now this was executed by two different robots operating in the cap zone. So let me show you the kapplets, how this actually works. So we search the robo server backups. What's happening is we have the one robot that is pulling back the list of names of the files that were generated. Here you see the backup name and last edit. Then you also have this one here, which is an action dialog. If I click on this, there's an edit commit action. So this allows the ability to interact with the previous result set that was pulled back by the other robot, and allows me to take that information from that table and then execute another robot with the information that it needed to generate the result, to pull it back into to the local directory where I needed to get hold of it. So just a couple different ways. Again, being able to automate the backup nightly, do it on demand, and then search all your available backups and pull them back and present it back to you for your use. And that's really my 5 minutes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.